What's up, Johnny?
As one of the premier hitters in baseball over the last few years, can you tell the difference in the pitches as you face them coming to the plate?
Okay. The pitchers as they've come to the plate.
Yeah,
Say it again.
the ball of the movement of the ball.
Yeah. In the last, I would say 2 years, the ball it's been moving a lot differently than it has in, my first 8 years in the big leagues. The ball's been moving a lot differently.
Are you in favor of the new rule they're going to try to enforce Monday? Do you think it will help the hitters?
Yes, I do. I am in favor of it.
JD, do you look at this as maybe bringing things back to where they used to be, or creating any particular advantage for the hitters now that they didn't have before?
I think it's bringing it back to what it used to be. For years, hitters have taken the blunt and the blame of this whole launch angle revolution on why the ball has been, the game slowed down. Everyone's trying to hit home runs. And, it's been kind of like, it's been one of those things where everyone's been, it's always been the hitter's fault that we're trying to swing for the fences, but there's always been that underlying issue that no one's ever seemed to talk about, and it's one of those things now that I think MLB is addressing. And I think it's one of those things that's going to kind of level the playing field again.
So saying that, do you think hitters will maybe go to a different approach? Some guys in terms of, not necessarily angling their swings as much and maybe trying to have like an all-field approach as opposed to, maybe trying to pull the ball or?
No, I think everyone's tried to do that. Everyone's tried to hit the ball the other way. But when you have balls that are moving in certain ways they've never moved before, you literally have to change your entire swing to hit that ball. And if not, you just don't hit it at all. And you just, you're pretty much swinging under it or fouling it off or whatever it is. And it's a very big advantage for the opposing pitchers.
Do you expect a strict enforcement, at least for the first few weeks, with the umpires and the pitchers?
Do I expect a strict enforcement?
Yeah, kind of to make a statement.
I guess, yeah. I think MLB's always enforced everything they've always done.
JD, just from a personal standpoint, you've obviously had a really good season. Your team's having a really good season offensively. Is there any frustration that this is happening in the middle of a season where they're kind of changing the rules in the middle of a season where you guys are doing really well?
I don't think it really affects us. I don't really think it affects our pitchers, honestly. Talking with our pitchers, nobody uses that kind of stuff. Nobody uses those kind of substances like that. So, I think it's going to benefit us,
JD, in terms of the baseball, have you noticed a difference in the actual baseball when you're hitting it this year?
Slightly, maybe, I don't know. They say that it's a lot more that's, more dead, you would say, but there is definitely a difference to it.
Hey, JD, you've been around Devers the last 4 years now. What type of strides have you seen him make this year in particular?
I think he's just maturing. I think he's maturing more and more, and he's becoming more of a, of a hitter instead of a swinger. I know it's kind of hard to say that sometimes with him, but I think he's understanding it a little bit more, and he's understanding his swing better.
What's impressed you the most about Verdugo the last 2 years?
It's just ability to go in there and, kind of grind out really tough at bats, off really tough pitchers. He does a really good job of, doesn't matter who's out there pitching. It's almost like the bigger the pitcher, the more he focuses and the more he locks it in. That's honestly what I've really enjoyed watching about him the most. Is there certain guys that hit bad pitching, and then there's other guys that step up and hit really good pitching. It's like they hype themselves up for that, and I think he's a guy that, you know, he prides himself on those moments.
What does it take to hit in the clutch in the late innings? What approach do you have to make as a batter?
What do you say it again?
What approaches do you have to make as a batter in the late innings in the tight game?
What approaches you have to make as a batter in the late games?
Yeah, in the late innings.
I don't know. I mean, the approach is kind of just you're playing off the pitcher, really. It kind of determines everything. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if the game is late or early. You know, it's kind of just based off the pitcher and who's pitching to you.
JD, going back to the foreign substance thing, you seem surprised that it took this long for it to be addressed. Why do you think that it was kind of the elephant in the room for so long, and yet we never got to a point where people were talking about it or rules were being made?
I don't know. I think it was one of those things that, you know, it started off with it, and it was, you know, everyone kind of turned their head and looked the other way, and then the secret got out, and you know, everyone started using it, and the entire league starts using it. I mean, do I blame the pitchers? No, I don't, because they're being compared to their peers, you know, and if the other pitchers are using it, they'd be stupid not to use it. I mean, that was kind of Trevor Bauer's whole point. You know, back when he used to have those Twitter wars with Houston and them. So do I blame them? No, but I think what happens is everyone starts seeing it. Everyone starts seeing the benefit of it, the amount of spin they can put on the ball, you know, the way they can make the ball move, and the benefit of it. And the whole league started doing it. And then what happens is offense this year. And it was one of those things that was talked about like, you know, it's just grip. It's just grip. We don't want to hit anybody. But then you look at it, and hit by pitches are through the roof this year, you know, and I think MLB is finally realizing that, all right, well, this is a big issue. We got to address it, and we got to talk about it. So, I mean, I think they've finally, noticed the issue and are making the adjustment to stop it.
Would you say that 75% of the pitchers are using this stuff, more or less?
I don't know. I'm going to probably say it's up there somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. I mean, like I said, they'd be dumb not to use it. It's such an advantage for them. And I think we've seen it this year in the first couple of months of the season. You know, the fact when you have a whole league using it versus a couple guys. And so, yeah.
JD, ¿dónde ha estado la clave de que este equipo haya jugado buena pelota desde el principio hasta ahora?
Dime de nuevo, no te escuché primero.
¿Cuál ha sido la clave de que este equipo esté jugando buena pelota?
La clave, ¿qué es eso? Explícame eso.
The key. What
Oh,
is
the key, la llave, like the key, okay. Que yo no sé, nosotros estamos saliendo allá afuera jugando con hambre. Todavía estamos pensando el año pasado. Y tú sabes, eso fue un año muy frustrado para nosotros. Y estamos saliendo todos los días con hambre y para, tú sabes, to make a point. Y los pitchers están haciendo tremendo trabajo para nosotros. Y están, tú sabes, del año pasado a este año, los pitchers hicieron una junta grande para nosotros y lo dejamos. Ahora estamos casi en todos los juegos. Y eso para mí es la cosa más grande y más diferencia de este año del año pasado.
¿Qué es lo que más te ha impresionado de Rafael Devers?
Yo no sé, Rafi, yo jugué con Rafi muchos años, tú sabes, él siempre me ha impresionado. La cosa de este año que lo está haciendo diferente, se está usando la mente y está haciendo un batador ahora, tú sabes, no haciendo swing a todo.
Finalmente, tanto Rafi como Sander y tú van por la carrera para ir al partido de las estrellas. ¿Cuál es tu opinión con eso? Que, bueno, por primera vez se puede dar el chance que 3 peloteros de Boston vayan al partido de las estrellas desde 2018.
Vamos a ver lo que pasa, tú sabes, pero si nosotros estamos jugando así, estamos bateando y estamos en primer lugar, yo no sé cómo no puede ser, tú sabes.
Gracias.
Hey, JD, you're past the 60 game slate that was last season. Now this year, how are you feeling about your process, the work that you've been putting into your at bats, and the results that have followed?
I feel good. I feel all right about it. I feel like I still have so much more stuff I need to work on, and a lot more things that, like I say, the season's a long grind, man. It's just, you can't ever get too high on the first half, or you can't get too down. So it's one of those things where there's always work to be done. And, I'm itching to go to the cage right now and go grind on something that I saw last night to see how I feel for the next 60 games, really. Every day you got to grind on something new, it seems like. So it's one of those things. But as far as for the first 60, I'm happy. I think we're in a great spot as a team. And, I'm not too mad about my start, I would say.
You mentioned you want to go into the cage and grind on something right now that you'd like to work on. Do you find that you have to find a balance between becoming obsessive over, some of the tinkering that you do in the cage?
Yeah, but that's the process. To me, it's the process. I try not to get caught up in the results. I feel like that's more, you guys and front office and all the stuff that wants to write about stuff, they get caught up in the results but like, obviously those are important. But to me, what keeps me sane in this crazy game surrounded by failure is just the process of it, is taking something good from everything you do every day. So, all right, I worked on this today. Did that get better? Yeah, that got better. Okay. I might've went 1 for 4, or 0 for 3 or whatever it is, but I got a little bit better today, so then it's the next day and it's the process. And that's how I like go on really hot runs. It's just not getting caught up in the good or the bad.
JD, what was the reaction to Garrett Whitlock's hit last night in the dugout?
Everybody was going wild. They loved it. It's always fun when you see a pitcher get a hit.
Can you give us your quick breakdown of his approach at the plate?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't even know he was hitting. I looked up and I was like, Whitty's up. Whack. Everybody went nuts. It was funny, but you like to see it. Everybody loves to see pitchers hit when they get a hit.
Hey, JD, apologize you've been asked about this before, but you've talked before about the way that pitching has changed, the game, launch angles, et cetera, 12 to 6 versus east to west. What role do you feel that substances, may have played in the game over the last decade, just in kind of changing everything from the hitters reacting and that type of a perspective?
A huge role. I mean, kind of see it in the last 2 years. They're taught that throw the ball at the top of the zone with your stuff and let it play. That's where you have the most action on it. That's where you get the most ride. So you get the most spin, and that's what guys do. And it benefits all pitches. Everything but a changeup, pretty much, or a sinker. So you got those plus pitches, and you turn an average pitcher into, you give him 2+ pitches, a guy that's just, he's got a decent fastball and a decent breaking ball. And now all of a sudden you help both those pitches out and you tell him to literally locate it at the top. And it's kind of what the whole league has done, and the hitting has taken a hit for it. And I think that's why, you see guys all around the league too, getting hit in the head. How many guys have we gotten hit in the head this year? We had Kike get hit in the head, last week or something? It's just, you have a lot more misses up now in the zone, and it's just dangerous, so I don't know. I think we'll see what happens, now that it's kind of getting taken away, and it's going to be more balanced, I think.
How do you think it plays out from a hitter's perspective? Do you think we go back to an East-West? Is it harder for the pitchers to
I think it goes back to pitching, actually learning how to pitch and actually locating pitches. I mean, if you look around the league, it's literally catcher sits up in the middle of the plate, puts one finger down and stands up or down and says, throw the ball up here, throw the ball down here. I mean, you look at history. When does that ever happen? Where the catcher just sits up right in the middle of the plate and throw it as hard as you can and let your stuff play. You know, because now you can throw as hard as you can and you actually have control and you can actually throw it over the plate versus before when you threw it as hard as you can, you didn't know where it went. So you had to back down. You know, it just leads to everyone throwing 98 to 100 with wipeout stuff. You know, to me, it's one of those things that like I said before, there was a couple guys that did it. And now it's league wide and it's gone out of control.
Thanks.
JD, just to clarify, obviously you said the whole league's doing it, but you guys aren't. Those two don't go together.
Those two don't go together.
Well, you said the whole league is doing it, but you guys aren't.
Like, I mean, by that, I mean, a lot of pitchers around the league. Like, I'm not sitting here, you know, trying to say that every team out there is doing it. I mean, I take that back if that's how you took it, but a lot more people are using it that aren't. And that's why I said, like, you know, our guys, they haven't really, most of them pitch naked. And the guys that do pitch, that's what they call it, by the way, pitching naked. So don't take that the wrong way. You know, most guys that the guys that pitch normal, they won't have everything will be fine. You know, nothing's going to change for them. It's the other ones that are really dependent on that kind of stuff to have their success. And those are the guys that, you know, kind of are exploiting the system and are the ones that are going to get hurt by it, you know. But at the same time, you got to look at it from the offensive side too. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are getting called up to face these guys that might not have a major league career because these guys are just, you know, just hurting them in a sense. You know what I mean? What's hurting one career is hurting another career. I mean, what career is more important, a pitcher or position players? Like, so.